In the first few lessons, we did briefly touch upon arrays, and we showed how we can actually create arrays. So we had set up a simple array called myArray. We had three different items in there. So when you are creating an array, if you don't immediately have the values that you want to use for the array, you could initiate it by just doing something like new array. And this lets the browser know that you're planning to use this value for an array value. And then in order to add items into the array, you can define items numerically. So we could start out with 0, and we could just have something like 1. We could also skip key values. So we could start something like 5, and then our length of our array is actually going to increase considerably. So if I list out what the array looks like at this point, so move all of that stuff down, and I'm going to just simply list the array within the console. So refresh that, and we see that we've got our array there. So the first item is 0 by default, and then 5 is going to return the value of 5. So that's how we can define what the keys are, as well as the values of an array. And then of course, this is essentially shorthand for that, so assigning everything in one place. So with arrays, we can actually have essentially have arrays within arrays. So I can even make this one even more complex. So I could have a set of, they're going to be identical here, but we can comma separate that out, and maybe I should update some of these values. So I'm going to just change A, B, and 7 so that they're different. So now within myArray, we actually have an array within an array. So I'll just show you how this looks when we output it. And so we have an array within an array. So here we've got all of these under item 0. So this would be the first array, and then this is the second array that's nested within the main array. And now we're going to show you how to access the various values. So within this array, if I want to access 5, all I have to do is call to that particular key. So this nested array is going to be a little bit more complex, because the first bracketed section is going to refer to the array that we want to get to. So what if I want it to display B? What would I have to include my array here? So when we look at this calculation, we see that this is the second item. So arrays start with 0, so 1 is the second item in the array, and then I'm going to also have to select which value I want to pick up from this array, and again it's going to be the second one. So this should return back 5, and then this part should return back B. So just go out and refresh it, and we see that we do have 5, we do have B returned back. So we can do things like combining arrays. So if I've got a few arrays and if I want to merge them together, I can do that as well, and that's the concat method. So that's just concat like that, and we can bring two arrays together. So I'm going to actually try to combine this array, and I'm going to combine it with itself. So we'll see if that works, and I have to just define it within there. And maybe I'm going to set up a brand new value here so that we can easier pick that out. And I'm going to console log I. So see if this works. So it should actually be concatenating those arrays together. So I'm going to refresh it, and we see that it did bring them together. So we got 1, 5, 1, 5, 5, and then value number 6 is 1 again, and value 11 is 5. So key value 5, key value 6, and then it added that same increment because the rest of them are still there. The rest of those items are still there even though they're not visible. So whatever the key value is. If 11 is our highest, we have all the way from 0 to 11 that we can select upon. We can also join and split arrays, and we can remove items from arrays. So just as we were placing items in it, if we want to place something within an array, just show you how to do that. So if I want to bring something and place it within the array, I can push items into that array. So I'm just going to put this number in there, go back out and refresh it. So we actually have it twice because we're still concatenating the arrays. So I can also remove out of the array. So that's pushing that in, and maybe we'll remove out something out of this array. So this value 5, and this is going to be unshift. And sorry, unshift, actually, it's not removing it out. Unshift actually adds the item into the beginning of the array. So this one pushed these ones over and added that 5 in the beginning. So we also have shift, which I'll show you what that one does as well. So if we shift 5, shift does is it actually removed the first one, so we still have the rest of the items within that array. So getting familiar with arrays is going to be another one of those crucial skills to work with in JavaScript effectively, because there's, just like the other ones where you've got these values containing these variables and strings and integers, so working with arrays really does help you manage the data and move things around and store data effectively within JavaScript.